Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back. It feels like the start of a new week, even though it's Tuesday, yesterday being Labor Day. But we are back on track and ready to attack once again. I generally don't want to talk about some of the things that typically you would see other shows talking about. And I did notice that I'm sure other shows will talk about this. Generally, we try to have our own topics so that we're not just part of an echo chamber. But in this case, I thought that we could provide shed some light on some recent events. For those unaware, tonight, we're going to be talking about this recent exchange between the New York Post's Stephen Greenstreet and Christopher Mellon. Now, before we even begin, there's some things that I want to point out, and that is that Stephen Greenstreet has reached out to this person, Christopher Mellon, for an interview many, many times. You may have seen at the end of the Basement Office episodes, there's he has this sort of post credits or whatever, this scene where he shows all the people that he reached out to for comment that did not reply or didn't want to be interviewed. And Christopher Mellon is one of those people on the list, always. But now, according to Christopher Mellon, we should have intelligent conversations. So I'm gonna go to Twitter here, because it really starts with this Christopher Mellon appearing at it starts with Christopher Mellon talking about aliens on a major Spanish newspaper and saying a lot of wackadoo things. And here's the problem. All of these so-called UFO celebrities do this. They say absolutely fantastical things. And generally, none of them have any evidence for it. A friend told me. And have you noticed that there is now what appears to be a coordinated effort to tell us all there's multiple people? If you ask me, there are multiple CIA people, but that's my opinion and I'm entitled to it. We've got Gary Nolan as well as Christopher Mellon recently saying that there are people that are in on the UFO alien crash retrievals, and they're going to blow the whistle soon. There's multiple people saying the same general statement about crash retrievals and how people are going to blow the whistle. And if you ask me, this is once again a case of UFO celebrities overpromising and under-delivering. When are these whistleblowers going to blow the whistle? Nobody knows. Who are these whistleblowers? Nobody knows. If nobody has attempted to drill down, and these people making these absolutely fantastical claims won't submit themselves to interviews with real journalists, right? They might do the UFO circle jerk. Hey, let's all go on the circle jerk UFO shows that'll just lick our buttholes and, tell everybody how great we are and how we're warriors for disclosure, but won't actually ask us or drill down on the absolutely fantastical, ridiculous statements that we make. And that's what this is. Gary Nolan, a real scientist, running around telling everybody, there's people I'm aware of that are in on these UFO crash retrievals. And of course, I'm paraphrasing, and they're going to blow the whistle soon. Sure. When is soon? Right? If you listen to the TTSA Board of Directors, disclosure, we're bringing disclosure soon. That was 2017, right? Still waiting. What do we get in the meantime? Well, we get UFO celebrities filling their pockets full of those UFO dollars. What was the TTSA raise? Some $2 million. And by the way, Christopher Mellon is in on the Mellon banking family. Mellon Bank. He doesn't need money. And that's always fascinated me about him. But if you know anything about wealthy people, once they've acquired more wealth than they could ever spend in 10 lifetimes, after that, they want to acquire prestige and power. And Christopher Mellon fits the bill of that general rule of wealthy people very well, because he decided he was going to go for power. After all, his family's got more money than anybody. Doesn't need money. And it's interesting. Why couldn't Christopher Mellon just bankroll TTSA? Why did they have to rip off the public? And I'm saying that. TTSA ripped off the public, and you, Christopher Mellon, were a part of that. And you, Christopher Mellon, whether you're aware of it or not, may be the reason why no one was prosecuted for ripping off the public. Lou Elizondo, Tom DeLonge, and you all stood on a stage while Tom DeLonge promised people a spaceship that would, quote, have a revolutionary power source that would change the world. Where's the spaceship, Christopher Mellon? You know, normal people, Mr. Wealthy, I'm just going to let him know this, because sometimes people are so wealthy that they become disconnected from reality. They've got so much money. But let me explain something to you, Christopher Mellon. If I stood on a stage tomorrow and was soliciting public investment money for a public benefit company, and I was soliciting investors, and I told investors that we were going to build a spaceship with a revolutionary power source that would change the world, and then I took investor money and then didn't do any of that, I would be in federal prison. But somehow Christopher Mellon and his friends from the CIA all got away with this. This, my friends, is why I believe, and I'm entitled to my opinion based on available evidence, and that's all I'm offering, my opinion based on all available evidence. In looking at the TTSA techno scam, there's got to be a reason why people can literally get away with investment fraud. It's investment fraud. You cannot promise all these pie-in-the-sky things that you are not going to deliver. And an internal investigation into TTSA, I'm sure, would reveal that they did no research and development into spaceships, other than maybe some theoretical papers from Nutter Hal Puthoff, who also believes that magic tricks, you know, people doing magic tricks are people with real superpowers. Look it up. But Christopher Mellon was part of this TTSA. And they told every investor that they were going to get a spaceship with a revolutionary power source that would change the world. And by the way, if that were true and you invested, imagine if you invested early and they did develop some spaceship with anti-gravity and free energy. That would certainly change the world. It would affect the transportation industry. It would affect the food industry, shipping, the automobile industry for certain, the airplane industry, the airline industry, travel and tourism. It would affect everything. But somehow, Christopher Mellon, Lou Elizondo, Tom DeLonge, and all their CIA friends that were on the board there, former Lockheed insiders from the black budget world, they all got to literally promise people a spaceship. And then they delivered nothing. We didn't even get to see blueprints of a spaceship. We didn't get to see propulsion tests. We didn't get to see even a theoretical paper about this spaceship that they were promising while they were soliciting public investment funds. In the normal world, Mr. Mellon, that's called an investment scam. But for some reason, you, Lou Elizondo, Tom DeLonge, and all your CIA friends, nobody gets prosecuted. Where is the SEC and the Federal Trade Commission? I am again going to take that clip of you and your friends, Christopher Mellon, promising investors a spaceship and take it to the FTC and the SEC. And I want an on-the-record statement from them. If I did that, or a normal person without the CIA connections and without Christopher Mellon's money did that, we would be prosecuted. You can't do that kind of over-promising. You can't do it. There's no proof that they did anything with that, what was it, $2 million that they raised to build a spaceship. Now, they can make excuses. Well, we thought we were going to raise $100 million, so we didn't have the funds for the spaceship project. Sure. They did nothing except take $2 million of public investment money so that Tom DeLonge and his sister could be paid exorbitant amounts of money to do God knows what. And how much was Lou Elizondo paid? Was Christopher Mellon paid? These are important questions. But see, these are questions that no one will answer because the con squad, Christopher Mellon, Lou Elizondo, Tom DeLonge, and everyone on that TTSA money grab won't answer questions about it. Isn't that convenient? You take $2 million in public investments, and then when it all goes belly up and you didn't deliver anything that you promised, isn't it convenient that they won't answer questions about that? And by the way, how many hundred UFO circle jerk podcasts was Lou Elizondo on? How come no one had the balls to ask Lou Elizondo, how much money were you paid by TTSA out of those public investments? Do you feel bad, Mr. Elizondo, that nobody got their money back? Nobody made any money from their public investment? And then we have dummies like UFO Joe, whatever, Murgia, is saying, well, I considered my $200 a donation. I didn't expect anything. Well, good for him. What about the people who were dumb enough to believe that they were going to make money on their investment? I have yet to find a single investor in TTSA that will speak to me on the record and tell me how much money they got back. I have spoken to a few off the record who told me they got nothing. They didn't get their initial investment back, and they didn't make a penny. Probably because of the convoluted way that whole thing was run. But here we get a real journalist in the form of Stephen Greenstreet. Despite my differences, I respect him because he's a real journalist. He asks real questions. And when these clowns run or, get snarky with him, it's because he is asking the right questions, my friends. He's asking the right questions, the questions that people need to ask. But Christopher Mellon, he's asked for interviews, I'm sure, multiple times. I remember seeing that in the basement office. Didn't want to be interviewed. Christopher Mellon was on those lists. So Christopher Mellon can get snarky, or I love this thread. We're going to share it. He's claiming that Mean Street is not being factually accurate when everything that Greenstreet said is factually accurate. Because Christopher Mellon, the man with more money than God, is doing a UFO conference. And for just $1,200, you get to meet and greet Christopher Mellon. For just $1,200, you get to meet him and greet him. Great. I almost, friends, want to fly to Spain, pay the $1,200, and then asked him what happened to all the TTSA investor money. Where did all that money go? No, Mellon and Elizondo left TTSA like rats from a sinking ship. Maybe because they knew an investigation might soon be underway. And if you ask me, the government needs to investigate that whole thing. A whole bunch of former CIA people and former Pentagon official. And by the way, all of the TTSA thing was built on a lie, because one of the selling points was we've got Lou Elizondo, the former director of a $22 million government program to study UFOs. Now we know that was bullshit. Why don't the FTC or the SEC care that they were soliciting money based on lies? Right in their own material is bold-faced lies about Lou Elizondo. He did not run any program. It wasn't funded. It was an activity, a hobby. And maybe, just maybe, The people that invested money in TTSA should have been told the truth. Well, we've got this guy, Lou Elizondo, who had a job that had nothing to do with UFOs, but in his spare time, he claims to have worked on some UFO stuff. Would you have invested? No. What we were all told when we were told we should invest in this TTSA techno scam is that Lou Elizondo was the director of a $22 million program. That means that every dollar that they collected was collected based on false information fed to investors. This is very problematic, and it's problematic for every person that was in on this TTSA techno scam. How much did they all make? Hey, Lou Elizondo, how much money did you make from TTSA lying to TTSA, lying to the New York Times, lying to investors in a public benefit corporation? You can't do that. You can't lie about people that are in on the company. Could I start a company tomorrow called, let's call it To the Moon Academy? And I'm just going to say that I ran a $22 million government program to study UFOs. It's not true, but I'm just going to say it. And while I say that, I'm going to take in public investor money. If I did that, I would be prosecuted quickly. I would be shut down by the Securities and Exchange Commission immediately, because I would be soliciting investor money based on a false biography of one of the company officers. But that, my friends, is exactly what TTSA did. They used this huge media push that they got from the New York Times article to solicit money for their company. And where did all of that money go? Because it certainly didn't go into building a goddamn spaceship. There's no spaceship. There never will be. There never was going to be a spaceship. The spaceship is just another of the TTSA lies that everybody was fed, along with the lies about Lou Elizondo being some goddamn UFO director. He never was. And I'm sick of you people. And you know what? It is on the record that I started saying exactly what I'm saying tonight immediately following the TTSA press conference. For years, I have been warning people against this TTSA techno scam. And what happens is I get attacked for it, harassed. Remember, does anybody remember the TTSA fanboys? Where are they all now? Now that we're all pretty clear that that was a techno scam and that people were lied to and money was stolen from the public in that techno scam. Where are all those fanboys that used to viciously attack me and anybody else asking questions? Friends, I've said it before. I will continue to say it as my mantra. The only people who fear questions are people with something to hide. I wasn't able to ask. I reached out to everybody in that company when they started. No one would give me an interview. No one would answer any questions, period. Because they knew I had the right questions. To them, those were the wrong questions. And people like Stephen Greenstreet, you know, again, I don't agree with him on everything, but I certainly agree with his ability to ask the questions that somebody needs to ask. And by the way, I love that there's somebody at the New York Post, you know, a real journalist who's going, this is bullshit. These people are deceiving journalists and everyone else. These people are stretching the truth, you know, withholding important information and manipulating this entire story and feeding us a false narrative. Do you know who else feeds people a false narrative? Counterintelligence officers. It's their job. I don't care what any of you supporters of Lou Elizondo say, because you cannot dispute this very simple and important fact. A counterintelligence officer is a professional liar. And for this man to tweet something like, I will never lie to you, Okay. Think he never lied to foreign adversaries in the commission of his duties as a counterintelligence officer? He is a professional liar and has admitted that in 2008, he was asked to apply his counterintelligence skills into the UFO community. Great, great. So a professional liar was asked to infiltrate, in my opinion, the UFO community. And we can see that some other intelligence officers can shed some light on how this may have gone down. Now, I admit it's all speculation and we don't have proof of this, but it makes sense to me that post 2008, maybe there was some observation period. Let's see who the players on the field are. Let's see what people are talking about, what people believe. How easy are these people going to be to manipulate, to run this false flag UFO threat narrative down and get the funding for us and all of our buddies? That may be what happened here. I'm still fascinated that no one gets prosecuted. Lou Elizondo approves the release of some videos that were never approved for public. They weren't approved to be just released to the New York Times, but somehow somebody got those same videos that he approved for release within the Pentagon out of the Pentagon. And we have the clip of Christopher Mellon saying, "Oh yeah, I got the package in the Pentagon parking lot." If I had done that, my friends, I would have been prosecuted. If you had done that, my friends, you would be prosecuted. Any normal person would be prosecuted. But it is my belief, and again, this is speculation, but it's based on all available evidence, Christopher Mellon was used to do that because the government doesn't want to prosecute him. He knows too much of their secrets. So maybe he gets a pass. Where a normal citizen like you or I taking materials out of the Pentagon that weren't, approved for public release and handing them off to journalists so that you can then go start a company and profit from those taxpayer-funded videos. By the way, it's another thing nobody's talking about. Those are our videos. We paid for them. Those are taxpayer-funded videos. Why should Tom DeLonge, Lou Elizondo, and Christopher Mellon, and by the way, Christopher Mellon has more money from God. He doesn't need to profit. Why didn't Christopher Mellon bankroll TTSA instead of, him and his buddies just using other people's money to play their games? He's got more money than he knows what to do with. $2 million is nothing to Christopher Mellon. Why didn't he just give them the $2 million to start the TTSA instead of letting them lie about Lou Elizondo and his background and his running a government UFO program that he never ran? Why did Christopher Mellon let them lie about and overpromise that they're going to build a spaceship with a revolutionary power source and take money from public investors? Why didn't he just give them the money if they want to, LARP a fantasy that they're bringing us UFO disclosure? And then, by the way, what did we get for all that TTSA hype? We got nothing. But don't worry, Tom DeLonge and his sister made money. Don't worry, all the people involved with TTSA apparently made money. Don't worry, Lou Elizondo made money. It's just too bad that all those people that sent those guys that $2 million never got a penny of their money back, to my knowledge. If anybody did receive any of that money back on their investment, please do email me at truthseekershow@gmail.com. Now, see, I've said it already, but it's important. I'm going to keep drilling down on this. There's a lot of shady things going on with Christopher Mellon, with Lou Elizondo, with Tom DeLonge. And I truly believe, it's my personal belief, and I'm entitled to my belief, that if I had done those things, I would be in a prison right now. If you did those things, you would be in a prison right now. But see, they are being shielded by the wealth, by the insider knowledge and connections of one Christopher Mellon. Normal people can't get away with this stuff, folks, but it's rules for thee and not for me, right? Just like we see Nancy Pelosi and her husband doing insider trading and they don't get prosecuted. They literally bought stock in electric car companies right after a meeting internal to the government, and Nancy Pelosi became aware that the government was going to push that all government vehicles had to be electric by a certain date. She leaves that meeting. Right after that meeting, in the next few days, her and her husband take out huge amounts of stock in electric car companies. That's not insider trading? Of course it is. Of course it is. But the rich, the powerful, the ruling class, the elite, and no one would dispute that Christopher Mellon is part of that. There's separate rules for those people. If you or I did what Nancy Pelosi did, we would be in prison. If you or I did some of this stuff with this TTSA thing, we would probably be in prison. But Christopher Mellon gets a pass. And because he's involved, I suppose, nobody gets prosecuted. They literally lied about the background of people in TTSA while they're soliciting public donations. They literally lied. I guess they lied because there's no spaceship, and promised everybody a spaceship. Nobody got prosecuted. There's no investigation. And right now, Tom DeLonge and his buddies are soliciting for new investors. By the way, whatever you do, don't give Tom DeLonge your email address, because if you do, I'll show you. He spams the hell out of anybody that, I thought that you could just buy like one share of the stock for like, $50 or something. I was going to do that. So I put in my email address and then found out that the minimum buy-in to get stock in Tom DeLonge's newest version of the techno scam is you have to give $750, I think. And I wasn't willing to do that, but the guy got my email address. Now I get spammed every day about all the great things TTSA is promising you. And by the way, I think that's new reasons that they should be under investigation. How do you promise investors a spaceship on the first round of funding, never deliver that, lie through your teeth and say, this guy in our company ran the government UFO program for the Pentagon that was funded to $22 million, and then that turns out all to be lies? How do you then go on and be allowed in this country after you've already proven that you've lied while soliciting public investments? How are you able to do a new round? And there's whole new lies, I believe, and we can talk about that because I'm getting all the emails. And you know what? I'm going to leave those emails. I'm not going to unsubscribe. Let's hear what Tom DeLonge is promising people. And when you hear, he's promising people all kinds of stuff, Bigfoot DNA, all kinds of shit. It's amazing. Somebody needs to go to federal prison, if you ask me. So back to tonight's topic at hand. I'm sorry to go off on a tangent, but I think it's important that people know the background here, right? This is what Christopher Mellon has been doing for the past couple of years for the UFO community. He's been running through with his buddies, siphoning up every UFO dollar they can. It's like they run through with vacuums. Get every dollar you can before it all comes crashing down. Suck up every dime. Get every penny out of these stupid people you can before they figure out that we're lying to them. So now Christopher Mellon is going to start doing the UFO circuit. And I find it amazing and interesting. The people that he is going to be appearing with, because nothing says credibility like appearing with the world's biggest hoaxer, Jaime Maussan. Nothing says credibility like appearing at a UFO conference with a woman that has been caught multiple times using 100% fake alien pictures, telling everybody these are real pictures of aliens. Great, Christopher Mellon. If nothing else, Christopher Mellon has no excuse for this. He's not a stupid man. I'm sure his rich mommy and daddy bought him a really good education, right? What the hell is he doing hanging out with these hoaxers and idiots at a UFO conference if he wants to bring credibility to this subject? So Greenstreet, this all started when Greenstreet pointed out that when asked about aliens, Chris Mellon tells a major Spanish newspaper that reports indicate we've already had contact and communication with them, and that the UFOs have landed and have been witnessed by hundreds. Again, the first rule of the Cosmic Con, friends, is you got to overpromise and underdeliver. You know why? Because the truth is boring, right? Well, somebody saw some lights in the sky. Somebody saw an unknown object while they were flying a Navy airplane over the ocean on the West Coast and later on the East Coast. Okay, well, that's a very grounded description of what evidence there is. So you have to overpromise, and certainly, you're going to underdeliver, because I mean, look at these statements that Christopher Mellon, a wealthy, very educated man, by the way. Well, he's supposed to be. I'm sure he's wealthy. And in speaking to his cousin, by the way, I interviewed Christopher Mellon's cousin, John William Warner, who basically said the same things that I'm saying, that TTSA was very problematic. And I don't want to paraphrase what he said. You can read, you can view and listen to our interview. But he threw an awful lot of shade on Elizondo being, and all of this being some sort of op. And that's the cousin, William Warner, the cousin of Christopher Mellon. But look at these statements. Reports indicate we've already had contact and communication with them, and their UFOs have landed and have been witnessed by hundreds. What sources does he have for these fantastical claims that he's making? Or is this bullshit? I know what I think, having observed this sort of behavior time and time again, right? And remember, this is the same person who is telling us that there's whistleblowers about the alien technology and it's all coming out soon, along with another CIA, heavily connected CIA guy, Gary Nolan. By the way, it is my belief that Gary Nolan is Lou Elizondo's replacement. Lou Elizondo is going to be phased out. By the way, Lou Elizondo, how's that book deal working out for you? I'm going to have some new information about that to share with my listeners soon. Yeah, it's not working out, is it, Lou? It's not working out. The whole plan came crashing down, huh? So Stephen Greenstreet is just correctly pointing out the facts. These are facts. Christopher Mellon did tell a major newspaper, reports indicated we've had contact and communication with them. UFOs have landed and were witnessed by hundreds. And then here is where we get to the good stuff. Mellon will headline the UFO Congress in Barcelona. He'll appear with the likes of Linda Moulton Howe and Elite, who will offer guidance from the Galactic Guardians Council. You guys have all heard about that, right? Those people that talk about the Galactic Guardian Council and that Star Trek, sort of storyline that some of these fake secret space program or alien contactees, they talk about the Galactic Council and what's going on with the council and how there's aliens on the moon and they're fighting with the reptilians. And it's such happy horseshit. But nothing says credibility for Christopher Mellon like appearing with these people. And here we see he's going to be appearing alongside Linda Moulton Howe, who you may be aware we caught pushing and profiting from pictures of fake aliens twice, at least twice. Yeah. Once it was a 2005 video game cover that she claimed was a genuine gray alien taken on the moon. Turns out that picture was from a 2005 video game cover. This latest story, we busted her again using a Brazilian artist's fake recreations of an alien photo of a sort of autopsy scene that he created for a fictional project. We even interviewed the artist who created those fake alien images. Linda Moulton Howe made thousands of dollars off of both of those scams. I'm going to say it. Linda Moulton Howe scammed the UFO community. And you, Christopher Mellon, are sitting right next to her in a poster. Congratulations, Christopher Mellon. Next, and to be very clear and to be very honest, I am not aware of the history of some of these others, but I am certainly well versed in the history of Jaime Maussan. Congratulations again, Christopher Mellon. You are appearing at a UFO conference with the world's most profitable UFO hoaxer, Jaime Maussan. You know, the guy who brought us, let's see, the fake fairies. L.A. Marzulli got suckered into that, right? You know, those fake fairies somebody glued together from like bird bones and a bunch of shit. They were supposed to be fairy creatures or mummified fairies. That was Jaime Maussan. But my favorite of Jaime Maussan's hoaxes was the Roswell slides hoax, where he claimed they had a slide from an alien that originated from the Roswell crash of 1947. Turned out, after Jaime Maussan made hundreds of thousands of dollars, again, scamming the UFO community. Jaime Maussan made tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. Sorry, he won't return my call. I try to get the number right, but we'll say tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars with a pay-per-view event pushing a picture of a mummified child from a museum as a Roswell alien. He made tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars with that pay-per-view event, scamming the UFO community and the people that believe this nonsense. He scammed us, Christopher Mellon. But that's not it. We've also got Jaime Maussan scamming everybody with a marmoset monkey. I love that one. Essentially, Jaime Maussan and his buddies got a marmoset monkey that was dead, shaved it down, whatever, dried it out, and then claimed that it was an alien. But a zoologist and primatologist both confirmed that what they were selling was not an alien at all, Christopher Mellon. It was a marmoset monkey skeleton. So again, Jaime Maussan scammed the UFO community. And you're going to appear at a conference with Linda Moulton Howe, who for sure has scammed the UFO community. And by the way, usually I'm very careful with the use of the word scam. But I'm not going to be careful tonight, because if Linda Moulton Howe or you, Mr. Mellon, or Jaime Maussan want to debate me on whether or not these two in particular scammed the UFO community, I'd be more than happy to debate you. We can look up the Wikipedia definition of scam. I can gather all the evidence of these scams, and we can have a real debate. So Christopher Mellon thinks it's a good idea. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not done on Jaime Maussan. There's so many hoaxes from him and scams. The next scam from Jaime Maussan was those Nazca mummies. You remember when a couple of slime balls got together and raided the graves of long dead people and then took bones from several different skeletons and a skull and glued it all together, cut fingers off of dead bodies, you know, because you got to have a three-fingered hand to make it look more alien. They cut Christopher Mellon, Jaime Maussan's buddies, cut fingers off of dead people so that they could get together with Jaime Maussan and scam people, telling them that these were alien mummies. No, they were plastered together, glued together dead bodies that were mutilated in order to make them look alien. So again, Jaime Maussan sold that story to Gaia TV. I'm sure made millions of dollars. Who knows how much money? Let's just, I don't want to get in trouble for overinflating. I don't know how much he made, but that was all over Gaia TV. Gaia TV ran ads all over YouTube over those Nazca mummies. Jaime Maussan was behind all of that, Christopher Mellon. So again, Jaime Maussan scammed the UFO community multiple times. Linda Moulton Howe scammed the UFO community multiple times. And I'm sure there's some scammy stuff going on with the rest of these people. And we're going to look into that. Maybe we'll do an update for the education of Christopher Mellon and his stupid supporters. So, I would ask Christopher Mellon, that birds of a feather saying, why would you think it was a good idea to appear at a conference with people that we can prove with facts and evidence? I have the evidence, with people that have literally scammed people with fake alien stories and made tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. Why would you appear with people that did that? Don't you think that's an endorsement of those scammers and their past history? But oh, don't worry, because here's Christopher Mellon with an explanation. He says, I am receiving no compensation other than airfare and lodging. I was offered the opportunity to speak to people about this issue, which is something I love to do. I am following in the footsteps of Harvard's Dr. Loeb, and my presence is not an endorsement of the other speakers. Then why don't you issue a statement, Christopher Mellon, condemning Linda Moulton Howe using fake alien pictures to scam the UFO community? Why don't you issue a statement about Jaime Maussan and his literally using dead people to scam people about aliens? Why don't you issue a statement about that? You saying that you don't, it's not an endorsement is a cop-out. That's called a cop-out, rich boy. Oh, rich boy, Christopher Mellon. Come on, rich boy. Is this the best you could do, rich boy? Shouldn't you have paid maybe a PR person or something? You're like, look, I don't want to look like an asshole going to these UFO conferences. Check out these people before I go talk at a UFO conference with them. Then we have John Brusso's Jr. says, but $1,200 for a meet and greet, laugh out loud. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because Christopher Mellon gets so butthurt about Stephen Greenstreet pointing this stuff out. And by the way, Greenstreet did not provide all of the background that I just did. But he did say, this is funny because there's people there that are going to talk about the Galactic Council and Linda Moulton Howe. That's all he said, right? So Christopher Mellon says, Stephen is just misleading his audience. While I have had no input in their pricing scheme and I am making no money off of it, I do know that the $1,200 ticket offers a lot more than a meet and greet. Well, what do you get? You get like a handy? What do you get, Christopher Mellon? For $1,200? I better get something from Christopher Mellon other than a meet and greet. $1,200 is a lot of money, and it's a tough economy, Christopher Mellon. And I don't know what's going on with his money, but why would he even agree to that? First of all, he says he's not receiving any compensation. Then why would he allow himself to be used by scammy UFO conference promoters who are going to charge $1,200 for meet and greets with him, Christopher Mellon, and not give him any of the money? Something doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you're not getting any money from that, Christopher Mellon, then you're stupid and you're just letting them use you, because people are stupid enough to pay $1,200 just to shake your hand if you're their hero and they were stupid and believed all your nonsense so far, right? And Stephen Greenstreet, to his credit, barks back, it's not misleading at all. I did not say you're making money off of it. I said for $1,200, people can meet you. That's 100% accurate. And I agree with Greenstreet. He's making factually accurate statements, and Christopher Greenstreet is telling everybody he's misleading his audience. How is that misleading? He's making factually accurate statements, Christopher Mellon, and you are appearing with these wackadoos that keep scamming everybody. What does that make you? The birds of a feather thing. I don't understand. I grew up and I was taught by my parents, maybe your rich parents didn't teach you this, but I was taught by my parents, don't hang out with the kids in the neighborhood that are ripping people off and doing bad things. You'll be lumped in with them. And I think it is very, very fair that when some billionaire talking all kinds of alien smack with no evidence, no proof, right, goes to a conference where he'll be speaking with two people in particular who have been proven, we can prove, have scammed the UFO community for years, multiple times with fake information to make money, I think you should answer some questions about why you're doing that. Okay. Christopher Mellon now says, much of your audience seems to have gotten the impression that I am charging that amount. You imply they misunderstood your unambiguous statement, but I would give them more credit and suggest you are being deceitful. Stephen Greenstreet stated a fact, and here's the fact. For $1,200, you can meet and greet Christopher Mellon at this conference where people are speaking at this conference who have scammed the UFO community multiple times with 100% fake stories about aliens. He didn't even go as far as I just did. He just said, you can meet Christopher Mellon for $1,200. You get the meet and greet package. That's a fact. So Stephen Greenstreet says, Chris, I simply stated a fact. The absolute cheapest ticket available meet and greet you is $1,200. Sorry, but that's just a fact. Really, look at you seeing a fact and emphatically interpreting it wrong is simply incidental. And then Greenstreet shares with him the place where you get the tickets, you know, where you pay the $1,200 to meet Christopher Mellon, meaning there's the proof, there's the evidence, bitch. Oh, man, Stephen Greenstreet made this billionaire look like a bitch. And here he is again. I'm receiving no compensation other than airfare and lodging. I was offered the opportunity to speak about this issue, which is something that I love to do. And here we have Stephen Greenstreet. You said reports indicate aliens have contacted us and that humans could be like zoo animals to the aliens. And that, by the way, that talking point has been repeated over and over and over again. You know, when people ask critical questions of these people making wackadoo claims, you know, people make wackadoo claims like hundreds of people have seen the aliens have crash landed here. We've got bodies. We've got this. We've got that. You know, people are going to blow the whistle on the alien technology. And by the way, I hope to God I'm wrong. I hope somebody comes out and proves that the government has been in possession of alien technology. I believe that's entirely possible. Maybe not probable, but possible. And then Greenstreet asks, any plans to meet with Spanish government officials during this trip, Spanish military representatives, or is this science fiction convention your only stop? No reply. So Christopher Mellon didn't want to talk about that. And of course, there's always defenders, right? The differential tier from the next lower tier also adds 2 nights in a nice hotel and 6 meals and some other perks, in addition to the meet and greet. If deceitful is too strong a word, disingenuous. Now somebody, a supporter of Christopher Mellon, is saying that Stephen Greenstreet was disingenuous. And Stephen Greenstreet repeats, if you want to meet and greet Chris Mellon, you need to buy a $1,200 ticket. Christopher Mellon with a nonsensical reply. That's like saying they are charging $1,200 for the water bottles that are also included with the ticket. It's just not terribly impressive journalism, which, if we're going to talk about compensation, is unfortunately an industry that can incentivize these salacious headlines. Yeah. So Stephen Greenstreet with his facts and his evidence, he's the problem. He's a terrible journalist, according to Christopher Mellon. Hey, Chris Mellon, what journalists do you prefer? The people that help you scam people out of money by pumping up completely, totally fake stories, you know, like Leslie Kean and Blumenthal from the New York Times, right? That whole fake narrative you and Lou Elizondo and everybody else pushed so that you could then go start TTSA and make money off of stupid people who believe your lies. Are those the journalists that you prefer to Greenstreet? Greenstreet says, fine, let's keep doing this. The first ticket price that includes water bottles is $240. So great, you can drink some water if you give them $240 while you're at this conference. This is everything that's wrong with UFOs right here. Like, well, you can attend the conference, but you might die of thirst if you don't give us the $240, because the $240 includes some water bottles. But if I want to meet Chris Mellon and the daughter of Moondust, I need to spend $1,200. Next, we have Todd McMurtry. He chimes in again with some veiled, I think they're veiled threats in my opinion. Hi, Wikipedia. Huh? Cool. And by the way, it is very fortunate that people did grab the tweets that Todd McMurtry deleted. Maybe Mellon called him and said, you better delete those tweets. You're making us both look stupid here. Anyways, if you want to meet and greet Chris Mellon at the Sci-Fi convention, you got to cough up $1,200. Here's the deleted tweets. He sends him a link to Wikipedia about false light from Wikipedia, a publication by the defendant about the plaintiff. 2, made with actual malice if the plaintiff is a public figure. 3, which places the plaintiff in a false light. 4, and that would be highly offensive, i.e. embarrassing to reasonable persons. And here we go again. These UFO celebrities are going to bring out the lawyer to basically threaten, you better shut up. You're putting him in a false light. And by the way, I read that Wikipedia article. Nothing that Stephen Greenstreet did is applicable here. He stated a fact. If you want to meet Christopher Mellon and, you know, the people talking about the Galactic Federation of Worlds, daughter of Moondust Nutters, or Linda Moulton Howe, you got to pay $1,200. That's a factual statement. If that places your client, Todd McMurtry, in a false light, or excuse me, in a bad light, if that is embarrassing to him, it's still factual. So sorry, your client got embarrassed by facts. That's a fact. You got to pay $1,200 to meet this billionaire wackadoo who's been talking about UFOs for years and not provided anything as far as proof. Listen to the claims he's making lately. Oh, hundreds of people. Jesus Christ. And then Christopher Mellon says, this is vindictive behavior. If you think the $1,200 line counts as thoughtful journalism and appropriately informs your audience, I encourage you to engage in some self-reflection, particularly on the question of why people are hesitant to indulge in requests for your interviews. No, Christopher Mellon, I think I know, Christopher Mellon, why you're hesitant to indulge in a request of a Stephen Greenstreet interview. You're a coward, just like Lou Elizondo is a coward. Neither of you two cowards will sit there and answer a real journalist question. Doesn't have to be Greenstreet. Could be me. Neither of you clowns will answer my questions because I'm going to start asking you about the TTSA techno scam and the goddamn spaceship you, Lou Elizondo, and Tom DeLonge promised investors. Where's the spaceship, Christopher Mellon? Oh, that's right. You don't want to answer questions about the spaceship or TTSA in general, right? Because that might paint you in a bad light, right? So what do these guys do? Send a lawyer with veiled threats. And by the way, that's just my interpretation. Looks like a veiled threat to me. Looks like a, you better shut up because you could get sued over these comments, right? Great. And what is vindictive, Christopher Mellon, about asking real questions or stating facts like people can come to Spain and meet you for $1,200. Those are facts. If you don't like the facts that a journalist is putting out, then you can give him an interview. But you're not going to do that, right? Because you're hesitant to indulge in his requests for interviews. I would be too. If I was involved in that TTSA techno scam, holy shit, the last thing I'd want to do is answer questions about the TTSA techno scam. By the way, why did you and Elizondo leave? Wasn't there enough money? You didn't get cut in for enough money of the $2 million? Do you need the money, Christopher Mellon? I don't know. I'd like to ask you how much money you made, right? All right, so let's just get through this. Todd McMurtry, who claims to represent Lou Elizondo, by the way, according to the statement we got, he does advise Lou Elizondo on legal topics. You could see our previous show on that. Posted 2 now deleted tweets above inferring I was guilty of false light. Do you agree with him? Does he represent you? Does he speak for you? Please clarify this, right? Stephen Greenstreet says, I was responding to him, not you, but then he deleted his tweet, so you didn't see the context. This is the same lawyer who threaded at blackvault.com for daring to criticize Lou Elizondo. I pointed out a fact, and it's still a fact. Please explain how I'm being vindictive here. And by the way, I got to say that I enjoyed this whole thread way more than I should have. But it's about time that somebody got under these guys' skins and made them engage. This is vindictive behavior. Again, he's reposting that. Multiple people have asked you to give context to your recent claims that aliens landed. You have refused to answer and instead directed these folks to buy a ticket to a conference you are attending. Why is this so hard, Chris? It's all about disclosure, right? Christopher Mellon says, I have and will continue to do interviews with various outlets, but Stephen is clearly operating in bad faith, and I'm not going to elevate his platform by jumping through his hoops. On that note, time to disengage and let him get the last word. Yeah, so Christopher Mellon I'm sorry, but he looks foolish and stupid through this whole thread. A billionaire that has to make people pay $1,200 to meet and greet him at a UFO conference, right? And then we find out he's not even getting compensated. So basically, Christopher Mellon is an idiot. In my opinion, he's an idiot according to this whole thread, because he's going to go to a UFO conference and speak at a UFO conference for free. Now, granted, he's a billionaire. Maybe he said, I don't need a speaking fee. I'm a billionaire. But the fact that he would let himself be used by these greedy conference organizers so that they could make $1,200 a head, who's getting that money, Christopher Mellon? Let's say, I don't know, 50 people. Let's say 50 people pay for the expensive package, Christopher Mellon. Let's say 50 people are going to pay the $1,200. Would that, come on, would that money just be given to the conference organizers? We're talking about $60,000. It's very probable that maybe 50 people would have the money to, and they would want to meet you enough that they'd pay the $1,200. Let's say 50 people do that. That means the conference organizers are going to just make $60,000 for you to shake some hands, and you're just going to let them keep that money, and you're okay with some scummy conference organizers scamming people for 60, in my opinion. Let's not even say scamming people in this regard. Christopher Mellon, are you okay? I take that back. Christopher, especially because lawyers are watching. Christopher Mellon, are you okay with some scummy conference organizers keeping $60,000 of money they generated by collecting $1,200 a pop from, say, 50 people that want to meet and greet you? You're just going to let them keep the money, and you think this is all okay, that people have to pay $1,200 to meet you? A billionaire who talks about aliens and all and makes all these fantastical claims but has no evidence or proof to share? You think this is okay? Something's not right here, friends. It's just something is not right. And here we go. For this specific event, they want half the monthly rent of a New York City studio apartment to meet and greet the former government guy who thinks we've already made first earthly contact with extraterrestrials. Then Christopher Mellon, who already said he was going to take his marbles and go home, he's got to chime back. This is the dishonesty that is so irksome. They're charging that amount for a lot of things, including hotel rooms and meals. It would be easy to tell the truth. And again, you have to pay $1,200 if you want to meet Christopher Mellon. Yeah, great. You get a ticket to the conference. You get to hear the other wackadoo speakers. Maybe you get some food. They give you water bottles, and you get to meet Christopher Mellon, the former government guy who thinks we've already made first earthly contact with extraterrestrials. I don't think anything Stephen Greenstreet said here is out of line. And Christopher Mellon is getting butthurt. And here's why he's getting butthurt. Because he knows this looks terrible for him. He's a billionaire. He knows it looks like he's a greedy slob or somebody's a greedy slob for charging people $1,200 to meet him at a UFO conference. He knows it makes him look terrible. It also paints him in a very bad light. The fact that he's going to speak at a conference that has at least two people that we can verifiably prove have scammed the UFO community multiple times makes him look terrible. Stephen Greenstreet, a New York Post reporter, asking about this with a huge following, putting this out there into the world, it's making Christopher Mellon look like terrible. It is painting him in a bad light, but he deserves to be painted in that bad light for being willing to let somebody charge $1,200 to meet him, along with, okay, you get to listen to some UFO wackadoos. You get to listen to some other UFO wackadoos who have been caught scamming people with 100% fake alien stories multiple times. At least two of the speakers at the conference he's talking at have been caught scamming people with 100% fake alien stories and fake evidence multiple times. Of course, this makes him look bad. So I think all of this is ego. Poor little rich boy doesn't like being made a fool of by people pointing out facts. And that's all Stephen Greenstreet did. Stephen Greenstreet says, hey, Chris, can I purchase a ticket for less than the $1,200 and still get the meet and greet? If not, you might want to rethink that dishonesty claim. Seriously, WTF are you doing here? Yeah, I agree with him. Christopher Mellon, I am here because I believe your audience deserves the context you aren't willing to provide. Okay, so what's the context, Christopher Mellon? Well, besides meeting me, you get to hear other wackadoos talk about UFOs, including two people that have been caught multiple times scamming the public with completely 100% provably fake evidence of aliens. That's what else you get for the $1,200. Maybe get a meal and a hotel room, and you get to listen to these other wackadoos you're appearing with. That's all the context. I'm sure Stephen Greenstreet would admit, yeah, you get to hear these other UFO wackadoos, including two that have been caught scamming the public many times. That's what you get for your $1,200. And you get to meet these people, and you get a hotel room and maybe some food, and they're even going to let you drink water for the $1,200. Stephen Greenstreet, this week after a major newspaper says, let's assume it's aliens, you told them we already had contact with them and that they landed their craft. You also said aliens best explains UFOs. Please provide context to WTF that means. And then Christopher Mellon tells him, if you would like to hear me talk in depth about the UAP issue, there is an upcoming event in Spain that might interest you. Stephen Greenstreet, oops, just 24 minutes ago, you were braggadociously saying you wanted to offer context. Now you are asking that I spend money for the context. I mean, that's very on brand for this topic, but no thanks. I'll just assume you have nothing. Those interested in what I actually believe can see for themselves here. And he quotes a debrief article. Why is there so little press or academic interest in the UAP issue? Maybe there's so little press or academic interest in the UAP issue because billionaires like you go on shows saying absolutely ridiculous, stupid things, childish things with no evidence, no proof, no film, no video, no context, no corroborating evidence. You say absolutely ridiculous things, Christopher Mellon, and I get you might believe this shit, but you know, I guess me personally, I know many wealthy people, and usually they're very smart, but there's a caveat to that. The wealthy people who are incredibly smart are the self-made ones. Christopher K. Mellon was born rich, right? He's just the heir of a billion-dollar family. He didn't earn any of that money. His daddy did. His granddaddy did. His great-granddaddy did. You know, they were the robber barons of their time. Real self-made billionaires are very, very smart. But I have to say, and you know, maybe I have a chip on my shoulder. I grew up poor, and I'll be the first to admit that. So maybe I have a chip on my shoulder. But these people who grew up rich, they tend to get into wacky stuff because they don't have to work for a living. It's all been given to them. They don't have to struggle. They don't have to aspire to things. Maybe it's easy for somebody like Christopher Mellon to get into wackadoo things and believe stupid, childish things because he's got too much time on his hands. He's never had to work for a living, except for that government job. I'm not aware that he's ever had a real job, right? Stephen Greenstreet replies with, I have asked you multiple times with no answer to explain your statement that extraterrestrial hypothesis best fits the facts. How? What data is that based on? Greenstreet goes on to state, I'm not willing to spend $1,200 for the answer, but I can Venmo you $350 just to get this over with. Let me know. Stephen Greenstreet just offered a billionaire $3.50. Greenstreet is my hero. He's like, I ain't paying the $1,200. I ain't paying this $1,200, Chris Mellon, but I'll give you $350. How about we just do it right now? I'll give you $350. He's trying to negotiate with a billionaire. This is ridiculous, but it's needed. And then again, he copies and pastes. If you would like to hear me talk in depth about the UAP issue, there's an upcoming event in Spain that might interest you. Steve Long. By the way, shout out to Steve Long. He was a guest here. Very intelligent young man who's really seriously and critically digging into these topics. He says, so only those in the public able to travel to Spain or afford $1,200 tickets are able to access the details and the evidence behind your public claims. Good on you, Steve Long. And Christopher Mellon says, no, I talk and write about these things all the time, and everyone knows that. Stephen just misrepresents what I am doing and then expects to have a serious conversation with me about this. Not the way to go about it. And here's where we get to the root of it. In January, I asked you for a conversation interview. You declined. Now you're asking me to fly to Spain and buy a ticket for a sci-fi convention just to listen to you. But I'd have to sit through speeches about the Anunnaki and moon spirits first. How is this serious? And then no further reply to my knowledge from the Mellon camp. You know, I think this whole thing is Christopher Mellon getting butthurt because Stephen Greenstreet is making some excellent points here. Mellon is running his mouth with no backup, no evidence, just running his mouth, hyping things like all UFO celebrities do. No evidence, no films, no pictures to back up what he's saying as truthful. And this appearing with these people, here are the people we're going to show you again. Here are some of the people that he's appearing with at this conference in Spain. The Ufology World Congress. Sounds important. And I encourage everyone, do some research on these people. E-Light. I think that's the one from the UK that talks to the Galactic Council of Aliens and knows all about the secret wars going on in our solar system that nobody sees, right? And of course, we've got Linda Moulton Howe, one of the biggest fake frauds who has been caught multiple times scamming the UFO community. By the way, Linda Moulton Howe is so butthurt over our recent expose exposing her using fake alien pictures that she has now changed the live chat on her YouTube channel, and you can only participate in her live chat if you have been a subscriber of hers for 15 years or more, which means you would have had to sign up for YouTube and her YouTube channel 3 years after YouTube started, right? 15 years ago. Amazing. Linda Moulton Howe won't answer questions because she defrauds the public with fake information, fake alien pictures, fake stories, and fake sources. Jaime Maussan, he won't return my calls or requests for interviews either. After all of his scams, I have sent him requests for interviews. I can share those emails over time. Never a reply from Jaime Maussan because he's too busy with his buddies gluing together dead people to pretend it's an alien mummy. Christopher Mellon, come on. You're going to appear at a UFO conference with a guy who was okay with his story sources. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say it wasn't him that glued those dead people together. Wasn't him who hacked off the fingers of a dead person so that they could pretend it was a three-fingered alien mummy. You're going to appear at a conference with a guy who's okay with selling that kind of a story, who has never apologized. What about the ancestors or the family of those dead bodies that were glued together from multiple dead bodies to make those fake alien Nazca mummies? Christopher Mellon, do you have any conscience? Do you have any human empathy for the families and of the people that whose bodies were desecrated in order for Jaime Maussan to make money selling fake alien stories? No, you're going to appear at a conference for him, and I don't care. I'm entitled to my opinion, and you appearing at a conference with these scammers is an endorsement of these scammers. A person with moral integrity would say, Jaime Maussan, you mean the guy who did the story where people cut apart dead bodies and glued them together and plastered them, making them look like an alien? No, I have integrity. I think that this is a serious subject that requires scientific research. I'm not going to appear at a conference with a guy who's gluing together dead people to sell fake alien stories. Or, hey, oh, I'm sorry, I did agree. He could have said to these conference organizers, you know what? I did agree to appear at your conference. But knowing that Linda Moulton Howe is also appearing, if I appeared with her, that may be considered by some to be an endorsement of Linda Moulton Howe scamming people with fake alien pictures at least 2 times. And by the way, Christopher Mellon, that's 2 times that I have caught her, that I have on the record sources from both the video game company and the second time she did it with that Brazilian artist. We interviewed him. Twice we caught her dead to rights using 100% fake alien pictures to profit to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars, scamming the UFO community. A man like you should have the moral integrity to say, I will refuse to appear at a UFO conference with these wackadoo scammers. But you didn't. Or maybe you're so far into woo-woo land that you don't care, or you don't know that you're appearing at a conference with wackadoo scammers. One willing to use 100% provably fake alien pictures to scam the UFO community. Another willing to use, let's give him the benefit of the doubt, he wasn't in on it. It was his sources of the story who faked an alien mummy by desecrating graves, digging up dead people, cutting fingers off of dead bodies, and more to sell a fake alien story. This, Christopher Mellon, is unacceptable. And I don't care what you say. You can do the cop-out, the rich boy cop-out. Oh, I don't endorse the other speakers. I'm just appearing there. No, your appearance does endorse them. And this is what they do, friends. This is what they do. One scammer reinforces the other scammer. And none of these people will talk about the scams the other is running. Christopher Mellon is not going to talk about Linda Moulton Howe's fake alien picture scams. And Christopher Mellon is not going to talk about Jaime Maussan's let's cut up some dead bodies and make a fake alien mummy scam. And likewise, Linda Moulton Hale is not going to talk about Christopher Mellon's TTSA techno scam where they promise people a spaceship. And Jaime Maussan is not going to talk about Christopher Mellon's, let's say, questionable procurement of those videos, those taxpayer-funded videos that were never intended for public distribution that Mellon and his friends all profited from. To me, that's a scam. Why is Christopher Mellon, Lou Elizondo, and their buddies able to profit from videos taken out of the Pentagon that were never cleared to be publicly released to journalists, profit for years, found a whole company based on those taxpayer-funded videos? Of course, this is what I'm talking about. Mellon's not going to comment or talk about Linda Moulton Hale's alien scams. Mellon's not going to comment or talk about Jaime Maussan's many, many scams and hoaxes throughout decades. And they're not going to talk about his questionable decisions and questionable profiting that he and his friends did from TTSA and from those Pentagon videos. And Tom DeLonge lying to investors about people in the company. Oh, we've got the former Pentagon UFO program director. No, you don't. That was a lie, Christopher Mellon. So you see how this works? He won't talk about their alien scams. They won't talk about his questionable profiteering from the UFO community. They all reinforce each other. That's how this works. And silence is another way this works. But I have no reason to remain silent. And I also have no profit-based reason to lie to my audience. Of course, Linda Moulton Hale is going to lie to her audience. We've seen time and time again, she's willing to lie, use fake alien pictures, make up fake sources, Spartan this, Spartan that, fake Navy SEALs. Jaime Maussan, of course, he's going to lie to his audiences. His whole business is based on lies. Maybe this entire industry is based on lies. And this right here is what's wrong with the UFO conferences. This right here, first of all, why would a UFO conference organizer who wants UFO truth book either Linda Moulton Hale or Jaime Maussan, knowing that they have literally scammed the UFO community for years with 100% provably fake stories? Why would they book people that have been scamming everyone with fake stories for decades? They don't care about truth. They care about putting asses in the seats and fantastical stories about aliens. Who cares if they're fake? Who cares if they're not true? Who cares if you desecrate human bodies? But it gets better, friends. Oh, it gets better. It gets so much better. Because, let me see here. Why does this keep happening? By the way, this is a side note, but I've had to secure my Twitter account. And here's where we can get into my own conspiracy theory of the Dark Alliance, right? The CIA and the PSYOP and the Men in Black. It is verifiably a provable fact, and I'll leave it at this, that someone from multiple foreign countries, including Russia, Estonia, I can't remember the others, you'll have to excuse me, but I do have screenshots of it. Somebody from foreign countries keeps trying to log into my Twitter account. So they made me change the password and all of this stuff. It is interesting. Yeah. And by the way, on that Lou Elizondo employment story, we are doing an update. And here's what happened. A source very close to me who has always been correct in every bit of information, they gave me that public document saying this is where Lou Elizondo, I believe, works full time. We released the document, and then it's the dead zone. Lou Elizondo, I've reached out to comment from him. The energy department, I've reached out to them. Pentagon spokesperson and the company CNS. I messaged them all today. Nobody got back to me. And the biggest question is this our UFO Lou Elizondo in these meeting minutes listed as, weapons specialist or whatever he's listed as? Nobody has gotten back to me, but I'm going to reach out to them again tomorrow, and then we'll do an update. If nobody will answer my questions, there's not much more that we can do. And it should be noted that another researcher pointed out that there is another Luis Elizondo that worked for that company back in 2011. So some people, everybody just went, oh, it's not our Lou Elizondo, and dropped it. I'm not willing to drop it until I hear, finding another Luis Elizondo. It's a pretty common name, I would assume, in the Latino community, Luis Elizondo. So other people just heard somebody say, well, I found this other Luis Elizondo. It's probably not him, and dropped it. I'm not willing to drop it until I hear from Luis Elizondo. And Mr. I Tell Everybody the Truth, this is a public document listing your name as being in on meeting minutes, saying that you may be working for this company. Shouldn't he have to answer whether that's him or some other Luis Elizondo? Crickets. All right, so this is where the story gets better, because we talked about how Christopher Mellon says he's not endorsing the speakers. He's not endorsing the speakers. His appearance at that conference is not an endorsement of those speakers. Really? Then how about an interview with one of those speakers? Because that's what he's doing. You see, sometimes these guys lie through their teeth so badly, it's almost comical. It is almost comical, friends. Here we have it. Christopher Mellon will be interviewed by Jaime Maussan at 12 p.m. Eastern Time from the Ufology World Congress in Barcelona. The interview will be broadcasted on TV in Mexico and can be streamed live here. Jaime Maussan TV. So now what we need to ask Christopher Mellon is, okay, so your appearance at this conference filled with wackadoo, proven hoaxers, fraudsters who have conned and profited to Jaime Maussan has probably profited to the tune of millions of dollars. And by the way, Maussan is welcome to email me and correct me. Maybe he's only made, $500,000 on those dead body scams and everything else, the dead marmoset monkey scam. Let's see, the Roswell scam, the fairy scam. Maybe he's only made $500,000. I don't know. But we have Christopher Mellon, who claims that his appearance at the conference is not an endorsement of any of the other speakers, yet he has agreed to be interviewed by the king of UFO fake stories, hoaxer, scammer extraordinaire, Jaime Maussan. Is that Christopher Mellon? Is that an endorsement of the other speakers? Your willingness to be interviewed by this man who used dead bodies to scam the UFO community out of lots of money? You're willing to let yourself be interviewed by a man who, let's see, scammed the UFO community for the Roswell slides, scammed the paranormal community for those fake fairies that were made out of glued together animal parts. I'm going to lose track here. Scammed the UFO community with the story about an alien that turned out to be a marmoset monkey skeleton. And by the way, that story has been almost scrubbed from the internet. It's really hard to find any information on that scam. And let's see, the latest of his big scams, Christopher Mellon, is the Nazca mummy scam, wherein somebody connected to the story in Jaime Maussan glued together and plastered together multiple dead bodies. They raided tombs illegally. It's illegal in that country to just start digging up dead bodies. They stole dead bodies, Christopher Mellon, and then they desecrated those bodies, cutting them up, cutting fingers off of them, taking hammers to the skulls so that they can reform those desecrated dead bodies to look more alien-like. That's the quality of Jaime Maussan's so-called work. He scammed people based on dead people being desecrated. Dead bodies were desecrated, glued together, and manipulated so that Jaime Maussan and his friends could make tons of money. They sold the story to Gaia TV. There was a whole thing about that. All fake. All fake, Christopher Mellon. And now, not only are you going to appear at a UFO conference with Jaime Maussan, who's perfectly willing to use dead bodies to scam people with fake alien stories, but you're going to let him interview you, right? Christopher Mellon, why don't you ask him about the families of the victims of that story, right? Somebody's ancestors' skeletons and bodies were cut up and desecrated so that he could make money selling a fake story, 100% provably fake story about alien mummies. Why don't you, during the interview, ask him about that, Christopher Mellon? Grow a set of balls, rich boy, or do the right thing and cancel on this wackadoo conference because you look like an idiot. You look like a clown, just like Jaime Maussan. You are going to involve yourself with a clown who is okay with desecrating dead bodies, gluing together body parts, cutting off fingers of dead people to make them look more alien-like. You're going to involve yourself with this guy. But you're serious about this subject, right? Garbage. Garbage. You, Christopher Mellon, are now a garbage peddler clown, just like this guy that you're working with. And I don't care what you say. I'm entitled to my opinion. You appearing at a conference with this clown willing to desecrate dead people and glue together dead animals in a separate scam, or use a dead monkey in another scam, or use a picture of a mummified child in another scam. This is the guy that you're going to appear at a conference with. This is the guy who you're going to be interviewed by for Mexican television. Awesome, Christopher Mellon. You are just so credible right now. You have really impressed me with your ethics and your morality. I'm sorry. You're doing all of this is an endorsement of everything that this scammer has done to scam the UFO community for decades. A man with a conscience, right? Think about the families of those dead bodies that this idiot's sources desecrated. And by the way, I have it on good authority. He knew they were fake from the very beginning, and he knew how they were created. May have even been in on the meetings where they figured out how they were going to glue those dead bodies together and plaster them. Your participation with this man is an endorsement. It is an endorsement. You're saying that it's okay. Everything that he has done, including gluing dead people together, raiding graves of dead people, disturbing the peace and rest of a human corpse so that he could make money. You're endorsing all of that by participating in this event, Christopher Mellon. Congratulations. You are clown shoes now. You are forever clown shoes now. And that, my friends, is all I got for you. And we're going to take some time for the live chat. I see some super chats we'll get to. Member Sweet Caroline, who always makes me think of that damn song, and now I'll have it stuck in my head. Thank you, sweet Caroline, for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. Sweet Caroline is a member of our channel. And by the way, if you're tired of being lied to by these clowns, that's why I started the show. I was once one of you. I thought if people say it at a UFO conference, the UFO conference organizers must have vetted the claims, and all this stuff must be true. Years later, I have drugged myself, kicking and screaming. I have climbed out of this rabbit hole of bullshittery. And It's important to note that I'm an experiencer myself. However, I still don't know what it is that I saw as a child that got me so interested in these topics. For all I know, it was some sort of top secret test flight of very earthly technology. And I'm still searching for those answers and that proof. And I want to make sure that people understand that I'm not saying it's all fake, but it's 99% fake. Here's a good way to tell. If somebody wants $1,200 for you to go listen to them talk at a conference, it's probably fake. There is a money motive here, friends. There is a big money motive with some of these people. And Linda Moulton Howe is a millionaire. She has made millions of dollars selling fake stories. Jaime Maussan is most likely a millionaire. He's made millions of dollars selling fake stories. Christopher Mellon's already a billionaire, so pardon me if I don't agree with him accepting the fact that people are paying $1,200, right? Yes, I ask people if, like you do interview, either they ignore me or say they no show. I want to ask questions no one else does to get their UFO thinking and deeper thoughts. Well, thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support, the Out There channel. The Out There channel does some interesting debunks and other things related to the UFO world. And you could check out their channel on YouTube. But thank you for the kindness, generosity, and support. 10 New Zealand dollars. And by the way, we want to thank Tony McClear as well. Kind and generous 10 pounds, who says, howdy, Truth Seekers. Well, howdy, Tony McClear. Shout out to Tony McClear. Continuing show supporter, and we thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. Anthony Peterson, $2. A kind and generous $2 super chat says, Stephen, knocking down ufology sandcastles. Yeah, I get that a lot. I burst a lot of bubbles. That's part of what we do here. But I got to tell you that I'm trying to reignite my interest in this topic and not have every show be, look how fake this shit is, because that's getting old and it's not fun. It's not fun doing this anymore. Paragon Reason says, I think Sean Cahill is the new Lou. You're entitled to your opinion. My opinion is that the new Lou is Gary Nolan. He's the next UFO messiah on The UFO's Not Right. You know, like The Price is Right. The alien's not right. The alien hypothesis is probably not right. And I see Kate Schneider is here. That's Mrs. Dark Journalist. You better stay with him forever, because if I have to call you something other than Mrs. Dark Journalist, I'm going to get upset. And by the way, where's my interview, Kate Schneider? I seen him do an interview. It wasn't with me. You can tell him I'm pissed off at him. I'm going to come there and chop up all his black suits. He won't be able to broadcast anymore. So pardon me, friends, as I'm scrolling through what a lively live chat that we have had tonight. And I thank all of you for your attendance, your participation, and more. It is good to see every one of you here. I'm getting some strange notices. So pardon me while I scroll down. In the meantime, I will mention, somebody asked me if I made some more progress on the cabin porch, and the truth is, no, I did not. I got rained out on Monday, and I was very upset by that because I really worked hard to get the cabin porch more section of the patio. It's 10 by 36. That's a big space to cement a patio, you know, to make a natural stone patio from. And I spent all day on Sunday gathering the stones and laying them all out, the jigsaw puzzle piece, and all I had to do was cement it, and it rained all morning and all afternoon. I will be back at it this coming weekend. We want to thank Al Warrior, longtime show supporter, with a kind and generous $5 super chat, says, showing some support, man. And we love and appreciate your support. Thank you, Al Warrior. He's been here since the very beginning of this shit show, and we're glad to see him still here. You know, every once in a while, Al Warrior, I see somebody mentions somebody else that's been here for a long, long time that's gone. And, you know, it's kind of like a revolving door, though. Some people have come, some people have gone, and some people like you have come and stayed. And I'm thankful for all of you. UFO John Doe, $4.99 super chat, and is a kind and generous channel member as well. And by the way, you can join our channel for $5 a month or Patreon for $1 a month. On Patreon, you get a whole bunch of extra content and a backstage pass, monthly show journal. That's $1 or more a month. But you always hear me say this. I hate putting things behind a paywall, and we'll see what we can do about that. Or you could become a YouTube channel member for $5 a month. You get all the Patreon links plus some YouTube added benefits. But I always say this, if you're having a tough time, just email me at truthseekershow@gmail.com. We put you on a special list. I understand it's rough out there. I hate putting things behind a paywall. If you're a big fan of the show, you need the extra content or want the extra content, and you're a little short of the support, that's fine. There's other ways you can support us, like retweeting the show or copying and pasting our video links and putting them on your social media. Email me at truthseekershow if you're in reduced circumstances. We'll put you on a special list. And thank UFO John Doe channel member. Great show, Stephen. Ariel School. Yeah, I'm done. We're waiting on Spooky, the slacker. We've procured the movie. I've watched it. I think I'm going to watch it all one more time, though, because I made very sparse notes because it was very compelling, and I got into that documentary. But there's some problems with it, of course. So I'm going to make new notes. I'm going to watch it one more time, UFO John Doe, probably next week at the very latest. I hear that Spooky's going to watch it today or tomorrow and make notes. And then Spooky's going to come here and we're going to do a complete breakdown. We're going to talk about what we liked about it, what we hated about it. We're going to point out factual inaccuracies because there are many in that documentary. However, overall, I found it to be very, very compelling and enjoyable. Thanks for your constant support, UFO John Doe. And we want to thank John Griffin for his kind and generous $1.99 super chat, who says, keep blasting. Well, thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. It is much, much appreciated. Spooky says, I have the copy. I'm going to watch it tomorrow. Okay, Spooky. So I'll watch it tomorrow as well, but make better notes. And by the way, after you watch it, Spooky, you got to see a link that I will send you, which will burst your bubble. Watch it first and enjoy it. And, get all aliened up, this shit sounds like it's probably real. And then I'll send you a link. And but we'll talk about that in more detail when we do the show together. Let's see. Chris Johansson says, hey, I donated a couple months back, but I won't sign up for anything. Put me on the list. I prefer to send 100 every few months. Well, goddamn, Chris Johansson, thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. Much, much appreciated. And I would be happy to put you on the list to get the benefits. 1 second. Let me get over to my banners here, if I can find it. Yeah, here's my email, Chris. And I do remember that. So send me this, send me an email and just say, hey, I'm Chris. I gave you that big pledge and I will put you on the list. Absolutely. So going forward, you'll get the Patreon links emailed to you. And we thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. I'm with you, Chris. Some people, I am on Patreon for one person, and it's a guy who does a cabin channel. And I love that guy's channel. But I understand, like, I don't like that recurring thing. I like to just support somebody when I can too. So not a problem. Email me at truthseekershow@gmail.com and we'll put you on the list. Thank you for your support. It is much, much appreciated. And I think you bought me this new microphone. So thank you very, very much. I remember thinking, oh, shit, this microphone's kind of expensive, and thinking about you. So we thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. Yeah. John Griffith, how is that story BS? You're getting ahead of things. We're gonna table that until we get to the actual review. What I will say is that it's a very well edited, but I had a problem with one thing, and that is that me personally, I hate 4:3. Even if footage is 4:3, it's easy to convert it to 16:9 so it fills the whole screen. And the one thing I didn't like about the documentary was just an editing thing. Every time that they show the old footage, it's that 4:3 in the middle of the screen, and it looked terrible. And then it gets annoying because it goes back and forth between the old and new footage, and I don't like that. But that's just a personal thing, I guess, you know? Yeah, Chris Mellon, this is a good point. B. Baker says Chris Mellon is going to withhold the biggest secret in human history for a UFO conference. Yeah, you too can get the truth. Just show up with $1,200, B. Baker. It's the Ariel documentary by James Fox. That's the one we're going to be reviewing. Cosmic Neighbors, if you would like, I will talk to you off air. I wouldn't mind bringing in a third person to watch the video and do the review with me and Spooky. And by the way, it's been out for a while, Ron, so we're a bit behind. I noticed other shows have done reviews of that. When it came out, we kind of missed it, but people keep asking me what I think of it. Will I review it? Is it factual? And we're going to break all of that down. Well, I got blurry for a minute like Bigfoot. And how you doing, Ron, with my cases? I didn't see an email from you with cases. I'm just busting Ron's balls. Ron, I will eat. Listen, you should call me after the broadcast. And by the way, I just wanted to mention that I am now 93 days alcohol free. And I have been doing something that I called the alcohol diaries. And it was for me. It was totally for me. It wasn't for public broadcast. But then I thought this might benefit others. So we're going to be doing another new series called the Alcohol Diaries. And I'm going to be sharing some very personal things as sort of in the vlog sort of way. And I'll have more to share about that. But I have been doing little clips along the way to the 90 days sober. And I don't have enough to go like, oh, here's the first week. And, so I'm just going to do the 90 days. We're going to start it at 90 days, but I will be showing clips from previous vlog entries. I wanted to capture that experience of going from drinking 15 drinks a day to nothing and what it's like and the challenges and, the hurdles. I think some people could benefit from it. And by the way, that's not going to be a how-to video. That's going to be a how-I. And I'm not offering medical advice. I'm just going to talk about my experience quitting all alcoholic beverages for 90 plus days now. Also, you may want to check out on our channel. We just debuted the second of our new series, Strange Stories. And Strange Stories is an interesting short series. It's a series of shorts that are usually intended to be humorous. This last one was really personal to me because this poor girl has some kind of rare medical condition where most of her stomach is paralyzed. She can't digest food. She eats certain food and she throws up every time. So she needed a medical procedure. The insurance company turned her down, wouldn't let her get that procedure. So she went to file an appeal at the corporate office and puked all over it. And it's gross, but it's beautiful at the same time. I say in the piece, what happened next was beautiful, but a little gross. She went there and puked right in front of their corporate headquarters. Then they wouldn't take her appeal letter, so she puked in the letter and left it there. And I thought it was a great story. And by the way, it was personal to me because one of the reasons I have a paralyzed eye is because when I went to the hospital having my brain aneurysm, they didn't know it was a brain aneurysm at first. They would not authorize an MRI, which is what I needed. They only would authorize a CAT scan. And because of where the aneurysm was, right behind one of my eyes, the CAT scan couldn't see the aneurysm. Only an MRI would see it. But the greedy insurance company turned down me and said, there's no cause to have an MRI. MRIs are very expensive. Eventually, the doctors pushed enough. I went to a separate hospital where the doctors actually were sure. They were like, this is an aneurysm. You're showing all the signs of an aneurysm. They looked at all the CAT scan images and said, we can't see an aneurysm. It must be hidden behind an eye or under a nerve or something. We need to have an MRI for you. As soon as they had the MRI, by the way, this is weeks after the first doctor said I needed one, and the insurance company said no. They found the aneurysm, went in and did the repair. But by then, my eye had become paralyzed from nerve damage from the aneurysm pushing on the nerves. In the long span of things, I could have been killed. I could have died because some greedy insurance company wouldn't pay for the medical procedure I needed, which was an MRI. So that story was personal to me. These insurance companies should not be making medical decisions. Your doctor should make the medical decision. And it is so funny that so many people outside of the United States are like, wait a minute, your doctor can say that you need to have a surgery and the insurance company can say no? Yeah. Welcome to America, friends. Anthony Peterson, with a kind and generous $2, says, congrats on 90 plus days sober. Yeah, thank you, Anthony. I'm going to do the whole 90-day. We're going to do this alcohol diaries thing, and I'm going to talk about my experience so far and the benefits. Tim Frick with kind and generous $2. Thank you, Tim Frick. And says, I appreciate what you're doing. Well, we appreciate you here, and we appreciate your support in order to keep us going, right? Mark the Truth Seeker says, we're all glad you're alive and mostly well. Can you legally drive a vehicle? Yes, but that's it depends on who you ask. I have no depth perception because one of my eyes is paralyzed, and stereo vision, depth perception requires that stereo vision. So I can drive, but I'm terrible when it's raining. I don't drive. If it's nighttime out, I don't drive, even with the glasses that I have. And by the way, I have glasses that help a little bit. They're specially made for me. But I still have no depth perception. And because you've only got the one eye, not two, working 100%, driving in the dark is really problematic. And the absolute worst thing that I hate the most is driving at night in the rain. Because if it's night, I'm already diminished and I can't see shit because it's too dark. And if you add to that rain, I'd pull over. Like I have straight from the cabin one time, I pulled over and just waited an hour and a half for the rain to stop or whatever, because the worst thing in the world to me is driving in the rain. So I can drive. I'm legally able to, nobody, I think, my depth perception is a problem though. But luckily for me, I moved out of the city, so I no longer have to parallel park. I used to, in the city, have to get out of the car like twice because I would swear that there was no more room there, but then there would be 3 feet and I'd feel silly and get back in the car. Now I have a driveway and everybody's got a driveway and there's parking lots. You don't have to parallel park, but I don't have depth perception. It's difficult sometimes for me. But thank you, Mark, for your sentiment. B. Baker says, you talked to a lawyer. I think you have good grounds for a lucrative lawsuit about the MRI. It happened a long time ago, and I just let it go. I didn't pursue it. Nobody told me that was a possibility, or I would have probably, well, I might as well get paid, right? It's water under the bridge to me. Quite honestly, B. Baker, just walking away from that situation, breathing and walking. And by the way, I was a mess after the surgeries and I was in ICU for a month. I was kind of like walking. I was kind of like half a man for a while after all that. It really took its toll. And then what didn't help B. Baker is that they loaded me up with opiates, because when you have brain surgery, somebody's in there jiggling around parts of your brain, you're going to have headaches for a long time. So they just kept giving me opiates. And that was a problem. You can't function on those things. Amy Collins, I agree with, says, yeah, I will park 3 blocks away to avoid parallel parking. I agree with you. I try to parallel park as little as possible. Welcome to the show says, I believe this present aerial doc is an independent release funded by private backers. The next incarnation is a new version produced by the team that dropped the current version. Mark D. Oh, they're going to do like a special edition or another version of it? Let's imagine. Mysterious Oklahoma says, "Imagine life without Steven." Well, I'm sure the UFO celebrities hope that I get another brain aneurysm and keel over dead, but I'm thankful that people want me to be here. Patty Wilhelm says, "Stephen, did you read my email?" Let's check in with our email. I think that maybe you'll have to excuse me. Make sure that is that Rita? I think. Maybe not. No, I don't know that I got an email from you. You should send it again. It's truthseekershow@gmail.com. Some people put an extra S in there and they make it Truth Seekers Show. It's Truth Seekers How, which I know is stupid, but the other one I think was taken. I don't know why we did that. Maybe I'll try to get the other one too. Truth Seeker Show. One Truth Seeker. truthseekershow@gmail.com. And we will check in also with the kind and generous PayPal donators. I want to thank each and every one of you. Warms my heart every time we need something here. We got a couple of bucks to do things with, like, buy software or pay for a microphone that's well needed. Honestly, I needed this other USB microphone. I'm glad that there was some money in there. Yeah. I don't think James Fox was involved in the Ariel doc. He's putting out the Brazil UFO doc this month, I think. I thought that was his, wasn't it? That's strange. Well, I'll have to look more closely at who produced and directed that. I assumed that it was James Fox, who also did Phenomenon and is doing this Varginha thing. Oh, Tim is correct. It is. Okay. Oh, then I'm misinformed. I thought it was James Fox did that. I watched it, but I don't pay, I guess, like many people, didn't pay attention to the credits. All right, any more questions or comments for me, please put them in all capital letters. Otherwise, we're coming up on 2 hours. We're going to bounce on out of here. What's going to happen when disclosure kindly comes? Your grift will be over, right? Yeah, I'm grifting. Not the people lying to you about aliens, you asshole. It's me running a con here. Sure. Yeah. But hey, we honor and welcome your perspective. You think disclosure is going to come and I'm the bad guy here. I wish that were true. I really do. But you have to admit and acknowledge that most of the people that are selling you information are defrauding you with fake information, are scamming you, are manufacturing fake evidence to sell you stories about aliens and disclosure. And if you don't acknowledge that, you and I cannot find any middle ground. That's the problem that I have with some of the true believers friends. I'm the bad guy because I reveal the scams and the hoaxes. Maybe that anger is misplaced and you shouldn't be angry at me, Ice Rain J. You should be mad at the people that are scamming you and lying to you and manufacturing fake evidence and, doing despicable things like gluing together human body parts to sell fake alien stories. Maybe you should be mad at them and not me, who investigate and reveal those things. But that's just one man's opinion. Okay. So any more questions or comments? Paragon Reason says, get two-factor authorization. Yeah, authentication. Yeah, I have it now. So Anthony Peters says, disclosure I think may still be a possibility, but I'm certainly not holding my breath. Yes. And Patty's asking where you can find it. Just Google it. You'll find it, right? Mark Deester, what brand do I smoke? I am stupid and do these roll your own buglers, which is a terrible thing. But I am happy to say that I am slowly getting used to the vapes, and I'm hopeful that I'm going to quit tobacco soon along with alcohol. And oh yeah, maybe they're talking about a different one coming out. Yeah, I'm confused because I got the one that everybody told me to get, and I watched it. So we'll clarify all those things in the show leading up to it. Oh, tomorrow night, friends, 9 p.m. Eastern time, we're gonna have a talk on UFOs and how ridiculous things have gotten with Matthew Riot. He'll be here tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. I believe that's right. I believe we said Wednesday. Let me check in with Twitter just to be sure. But I believe that's right. And also, you may have noticed our increased output lately. That's me putting my foot on the gas for once. Occasionally, Spooky makes me work, and I do. I just didn't want to flood the channel with more content than can be consumed. So let me see here. Oh, interesting. Yeah, so Matthew Wright will be here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I invite you to be here with us as well. And B. Baker is always inviting you to join the Discord and hit like. Yes, and I'm also going to remind you people that are listening in audio podcast land that you're missing half the fun. Go on over to YouTube, put Truth Seekers, one word, in the search bar. Go to that channel with the strange guy with the sunglasses. That would be me, your host. Smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and you too will know when we're doing a live taping, and we will welcome you to come on over here and be a part of the live taping. You hear us, we take questions and comments from the live chat. It's a very interactive experience, and we welcome you to come join us at our home base here where we do the live tapings on YouTube. The rest of you, I would like to remind you to smash that like button on the way out. All you hate watchers, hit that dislike button on the way out. We like that too. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. And also, please do help us out by sharing some of these videos, our videos, on your social media. It really does help us move up in the Google search rankings. And that's really all we got for you. B. Baker reminding everybody that you can do the Cash App, and you can Cash App us at truthseekershow@gmail.com. I think it's just Truthseekershow, but I'm not sure. And by the way, does anybody know how to get that money out? Because it's in there, but we haven't used it. Maybe we'll do something with that Cash App. It's just been building up since we started taking it. I haven't moved it anywhere. I'm not sure how to do that. But we welcome and thank each and every one of you for supporting us, whether it's on Patreon or Cash App. The description or how to throw a couple of bucks is down there in the description of the video. You can also do super thanks now. So if you're watching the replay, you can still throw a couple of bucks in our hat. Tomorrow's show is a different time. Stay aware. Now I'm confused. I thought it's 9 p.m. Eastern time. Fox did a segment on it in the Phenomenon. So the full doc was done by Randall Nickerson at Aerial School Phenomenon. Okay, good. Thanks for I'm glad. Thanks for the clarification. I thought it was James Fox, but I wasn't sure. I know that James Fox is a big proponent of the Aerial School case. He talks about it a lot, right? I said 5 a minute ago. Okay, I apologize. Oh, it's been a long day. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night we're going to have a show on how ridiculous the UFO community is and how ridiculous some of the celebrities of the UFO community have become. a nice talk with Matthew Riot, right? We would be happy to welcome Matthew here. He's been sort of on the periphery of our show, in and out of our live chat and our Discord. We're going to be welcoming more people like that here. We've also got some new interviews coming up. I'm still working on booking those people. We'll have an update on the Lou Elizondo employment record story as soon as somebody gets back to me, and more, all coming your way. We also have a couple of production videos to drop this week that we've already put on Patreon and the members section last week. That's what I think we're going to do from now on. The new production videos we're going to leave on Patreon and the member section for a week, and then we'll put them up the week after. What's your opinion on the ultra-terrestrial models brief by Hal Puthoff, PhD? Hal Puthoff is a crankpot. That's what I think. Hal Puthoff is a pseudoscience garbage peddler. He is the guy who spent an awful lot of money investigating psychics, and Uri Geller used magic tricks on him and fooled him. Children's magic tricks. And I can tell you that with some degree of confidence because I know some of those children's magic tricks, having been a professional magician myself. Hal Puthoff was fooled by children's magic tricks into believing that Uri Geller had superpowers, and he declared that Uri Geller's superpowers were genuine. So I don't really put much stock into, I mean, I'll read it for you, Mysterious Oklahoma, and I'll let you know what I think after I've read it. But yeah, I would prefer John Keel to anything that Hal Puthoff has to say about the ultra-terrestrial hypothesis. But I do think that there is something to that possible explanation, right? Grant Levac says, well, I haven't always agreed with your style and mode of delivery. I appreciate you asking intelligent and thought-provoking questions. Well, we thank you, and yeah, everybody's entitled to their opinion. And by the way, I have heard some people who said, I turned you off because you were yelling and screaming. If you haven't noticed, since I'm alcohol-free, I am much calmer. I really do think that. For the past 90 days without alcohol, I haven't yelled and screamed anywhere near as much. It used to be every day because I'd be all hungover and in a bad mood, do a show. The trigger for me yelling and screaming used to be pretty quick. Now it takes an awful lot. I'm trying to keep my anger under control. I'm returning to spiritual practice, including, reading some spiritual texts, and I'm trying to find time to pray or meditate every day. And along with meditation comes more awareness of our emotions. In other words, I won't go from 0 to screaming in seconds anymore because meditation gives you this sort of emotional awareness. Like you have more of a range, It takes more for you to pop off and start getting that angry and screaming and whatever. Or maybe nobody's pissed me off because I've been focused on my health and other family and other more important things. So I haven't gotten quite as animated, but I hear you, Grant, and I respect everyone's opinion, and I'm trying to improve. I'm human, but thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support. It is much, much appreciated. I think that, what is that, Australian dollars? Down under. We love our friends from down under. Or is it Austrian? I think it's Australian. Don't change anything. You went nuts tonight. It was great. Not really. But when people start using dead people and corpses to scam people about aliens, yeah, I get a little upset, right? See? This, my friends, is proof. It's proof that you cannot please all the people all the time. Because some people don't like that yelling and screaming. And here Ghost Rider says, I love the yelling and screaming. Yeah. And by the way, we're getting our audio set up, really hooked up. And the next thing I'm looking for is a compressor so that when I do yell and scream, I won't blow out people who are listening on headphones. That's a new goal for mine, right? You gotta have goals. One of my goals is that I don't get any more emails from people upset because they were listening on headphones and I start yelling and screaming and it like overdrives and I'm sorry to all of you. So yeah, we're working on that as well. Patty says it's the passion for the truth. Yes, I agree with you. Mysterious Oklahoma says I love the crazy mask rants also. Well, we've got a new one for you coming up from Lou Lizolato. And we will be debuting 2 new characters, one for Anjali, when we're still working on that, and one for Billy Carson, still working on that. Once we finish this next Lou Lizolato piece and those 2, we will be busy assembling our first ever Honest UFO conference. And what we're going to do is we're going to take all of the characters and masks shows and cut them up and put them all back together as the first ever Honest UFO conference. Hopefully we'll have that shortly. Yeah. So we want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. I want to thank each and every one of our kind and generous benefactors on Patreon, channel members, you Cash Appers, you PayPal pledgers, and you Patreon supporters. All of you people really do help to keep the show going. And it warms my heart to see people all over the world. It's exactly what I had hoped for. You know, we don't ask for a lot of support, but we're appreciative of all the support that we do get. I'm blown away by it. I never thought it would get to this level. And we keep moving forward. I will have some exciting new announcements about distribution of Truth Seekers coming soon and more good news. It's all good news for our show here. And things are really heating up. And we're going to take the leap to the next level soon. And I want to thank each and every one of you for helping us get this far. 1 second, friends. One second. Okay, somebody's just texting me technical information. Please do that after the show. I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Actually, I like it off Do Not Disturb in case there's some technical thing going on that I don't realize. And thank you to all you people who, there are some of you who have my real and actual phone number. Thank to all you people who help us when there's a technical issue going on, letting me know. Because sometimes tonight we're doing a presentation, I'm reading something, I don't really quite realize what's happening. Yeah. But thank each and every one of you for joining us tonight. We'll be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and we'll be back on Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I will not be going to the cabin on Thursday nights anymore, going forward into the fall, but Friday. So we're increasing our schedule. We're going to have more live shows for you. We have more interviews lined up. I have more investigations running right now than I've ever had. My head is spinning trying to get these stories that we're working on behind the scenes finished for you. There's a couple of really amazing stories coming your way very soon. So stay tuned for those. That's all we got for you. Until next time, friends, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.